Hello, we're starting the inorganic chemistry and first topic is introduction to atomic structure. Atom is the smallest unit of the element and it consists a nucleus and the electrons in the orbitals. Nucleus contains protons and neutrons while the electrons revolve in the orbits around the nucleus. The three basic particles in an atom are protons, neutrons and electrons. Out of these, proton and neutrons rest in the nucleus and electrons revolves around the nucleus in the orbits. Proton has charge plus 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb, that is the charge on proton is plus, while the charge on electron is negative and it is minus 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb, while the neutrons are neutral. As a whole, atom is neutral, that means number of protons in the nucleus will equal to the number of electrons in the orbits. This n refers for number and subscript refers for proton and electrons. In an atom, number of protons equal to number of electrons and mass of proton is very greater than mass of electron but slightly less than the mass of neutron. An atom can be represented symbolically in the form ZXA. Here, this Z refers atomic number. This atomic number is equal to the number of protons in the nucleus, while the A is the mass number and it is the sum of number of protons plus number of neutrons in nucleus. That means number of neutrons will be equal to mass number minus atomic number. This we have to remember. Simplest element is hydrogen. It has one proton, one electron and it do not have any neutron, and symbolically it is written as 1H1. This 1 refers atomic number and in subscript 1 refers the mass number. Atomic number is 1 for hydrogen, that means it has only one proton in nucleus and one electron in the orbit. While the mass number is also 1, it means number of neutrons will be A minus Z, that is equal to 1 minus 1, that means 0. So number of neutrons in the hydrogen is 0. Similarly, we can check for the other element which is helium. It is written as 2He4. Its atomic number is 2, that means it has 2 protons and 2 electrons, and mass number is 4, that means number of neutrons will be A minus Z, that is mass number minus atomic number, and it is 4 minus 2, that is equal to 2. This implies that helium has 2 protons, 2 electrons and 2 neutrons. Hydrogen has 1 electron in its cells, which on receiving the energy excited to the higher energy states and where it stay for a smaller period and then return to its ground state. In this process, it emits the radiations of a particular wavelength depending on the orbits, and this wavelength is given by the relation 1 by lambda equal to R. This is the Rydberg constant. Value is 1.097 into 10 to the power 7 per meter into 1 by Nf square minus 1 by Ni square. Ni is the initial energy state and Nf is the final energy state. If final energy state is 1, that means if electron jumps to the cell K or n equal to 1, then this series is called Lyman series. For example, if there are the number of cells n equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, if our electron is remaining in the n initial, it is 4 and it returns to the orbit n equal to 1, then this line belongs to the Lyman series. Similarly, if it lies in the n equal to 3 and return to n equal to 1, it is also the spectral line in the Lyman series. From 2 to 1, it is also the Lyman series. That means terminating cell is n equal to 1, then the series is called Lyman series, and this belongs to the ultraviolet region. Similarly, if final energy state is the n equal to 2, then this series will be called Balmer series, and it lies in the visible region. Similarly, Paschen bracket Fund, which lies in the infrared region. And the maximum number of the spectral lines in a transition will be n2 minus n1 into n2 minus n1 plus 1 by 2. This is 2, where n2 is greater than n1. We can say n2 is initial energy state and n1 is final energy state. For example, transition is from n2 to 3. This is the initial energy state, and it comes in the ni equal to 1, that is the n1 equal to 1. This is the initial state, and this n1 equal to 1, this is the final state. So number of the spectral line will be 3 minus 1 into 3 minus 1 plus 1 by 2. This will be equal to 2 into 3 by 2. It is equal to 3. So in this transition, there are maximum 3 spectral lines. For example, this is n equal to 3, this is n equal to 2, and this is n equal to 1. Suppose electron is lying at the n equal to 3, it has to return to the ground state, that is the n equal to 1 for hydrogen atom. So here it will jump from directly from 3 to 1. This is the one of the spectral line, or it may jump from 3 to 2 and then 2 to 1. So there are 3 spectral lines in this transition. So maximum number of spectral lines for n2 equal to 3 to n1 equal to 1, this is 3. So we have to remember this formula. It is an important formula. Different atomic models for atom are: number 1, Thomson model. It is also called the plum pudding or the watermelon model. In this, total mass and the positive charge is supposed to be scattered all over its volume, and electrons are existing in this volume. But this model fails to explain the spectra as well as the stability of the atom. Then next is Rutherford model. This model is based on the alpha particle scattering experiment. Alpha particle is basically the helium nucleus. It is the helium nucleus. And helium nucleus can be written as 2He4, contains 2 proton plus 2 electron plus 2 neutron. And if these 2 electrons are removed or ionized from the helium, it will becomes helium ion plus plus. So this helium ion is called the alpha particle. In alpha particle scattering experiment, it was observed that most of the alpha particle passes through the gold foil without any deviation, representing that most of the space of the atom is empty. Some deviates from a very small angle and very few deviate at 180 degree. This explains that total mass and total positive charge is concentrated at a very small region that was called nucleus. But Rutherford model could not explain the stability of atom, because electron revolving in an orbit will radiate energy, because it is just like an accelerating charge, and due to the emission of energy, the radius of the path will reduces continuously, and ultimately electron will fall in the nucleus and cause the question on the stability of the atom. So next, Bohr gives its model according to which electron revolves in the stable orbits in which they do not radiate the energy. In the stable orbits, the circumference will be equal to the integral multiple of the wavelength of the wave. 2 pi r equal to n lambda. This was written as 2 pi r equal to n into, because lambda is the wavelength associated with the moving electron, and it is given by h by p with the help of the de Broglie formula, and it is equal to n into h by p is momentum, so it is written as mv. So it can be written as mvr equal to nh by 2 pi, which is this equation. This is very important equation. That means angular momentum of the electron is equal to the integral multiple of h by 2 pi. Such orbits are the stable orbits, and electron do not radiate the energy in these orbits. Energy is transmitted or radiated only when the electron transitions from one of the orbit to another orbit. For circular mode, there will be a centripetal force mv square by r, and this centripetal force is provided by the electrical force. Electrical force is given by 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 into q2 by r square. Here one of the charge is electron and another charge will be the charge on nucleus, and that will be equal to Ze. It is the number of the protons. Z is the number of protons because atomic number is the number of protons, and one proton has the charge equal in magnitude of the electron. So we can say charge on the total positive charge is Ze. Therefore, the Coulomb force will be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Ze into E. That is Ze square divided by R square. And using these equation number 1 and 2, we solve for radius of the orbit, velocity of electron, energy of electron, and time period of the electron. We get these formulas that we can solve, and a relation between the number of orbit and the atomic number, we get R is proportional to n square by z, V is proportional to z by n, energy is proportional to z square by n square, and time period, which is the circumference divided by velocity, we get t proportional to n cube by z square. So we have to remember this relation. Summerfield explained the splitting of spectral lines by assuming the sum of orbits are elliptical.